Welcome to this explainer. It's pretty wild to think about, but an ancient legal concept, one born literally centuries ago, is suddenly unlocking massive new revenue streams right now in the age of artificial intelligence. Today, we're diving into the evolution of copyright and taking a close look at exactly how publishers are turning their hidden data into highly profitable assets. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for today. First, the basics of copyright. Then we'll go from print to digital, followed by the AI data boom, smart data licensing models, and finally, building a licensing program. Section 1. The basics of copyright. Because to really understand modern data monetization, we first need to establish our legal bedrock. So, what exactly is copyright at its core? It's the exclusive legal right to copy, distribute, adapt, display, and perform a creative work. Now, the absolute critical distinction here is that copyright protects the original expression of an idea, like the specific way an article is written or the exact way a dataset is structured, but it absolutely does not protect the underlying idea itself. And to actually secure that protection, a work must be quote-unquote fixed in a tangible medium. What does that mean? Well, it just needs to be stable enough to be perceived for more than a passing moment. So, if it's written down, recorded, or saved to a server, you're good. Once it's fixed like that, boom, the legal protection is automatically yours. Moving right along to Section 2, from print to digital. You see, copyright wasn't just invented out of thin air. It was actually born out of technological disruption. Think back to the 15th century printing press. It made copying cheap and easy, which eventually necessitated the Statute of Anne in 1710 just to protect authors. Then, as the world got smaller, globalization drove the Berne Convention in 1886. And today, well, the internet and AI are shaking things up again, driving the urgent need for entirely new ways to protect our digital assets. That brings us to Section 3, the AI data boom. It helps to think of publisher assets like a giant iceberg. Your traditional assets, the articles, the books, the images, they are really just the visible tip of that iceberg. The real, massive hidden value actually lies beneath the surface in the data structure. We're talking metadata, taxonomies, citation networks, and usage signals. In this new AI era, all that surrounding context is quickly becoming just as valuable as the content itself. In fact, publisher data is increasingly viewed as the raw oil to power large and small language models. AI models and enterprise knowledge tools literally cannot function safely with this high-quality, trusted, and rights-cleared data. It's the essential grounding and reasoning that is keeping the modern digital economy running. So we have to pause here and ask a pretty critical question. What is publisher data actually worth? Look, today, traditional advertising and subscription revenue models are shrinking, right? And platforms are constantly gatekeeping audiences. Because of all that, publishers absolutely must start looking at their hidden data not just as some byproduct of publishing, but as a distinct, highly valuable product in its own right. All right, Section 4, Smart Data Licensing Models. Let's break down the three most effective data licensing models right now. First up, we have Content Plus Metadata, which physically trains large language models for fact-based output. Second, we've got knowledge graphs. These structure conceptual relationships, providing super powerful inputs for semantic search. And third, usage data. This tracks click patterns and citations, basically teaching AI what real-world human credibility actually looks like. So the crucial point here is that licensing isn't just about giving your data away. No, it's about strict governance. You can use purpose-bound licenses to restrict data to very specific uses, like RAG only, effectively blocking foundational model training. By enforcing things like watermarking, audit rights, and clear takedown procedures, you remain completely in the driver's seat protecting your IP. Which leads us perfectly to our final section, Section 5, Building a Licensing Program. Transitioning to active monetization really happens in 5 manageable phases. Step 1 is appraisal, basically assessing your data and its condition. Step 2 is packaging, where you shape that raw data into buyable tiers. Step 3 is pricing, determining its value based on depth, uniqueness, and market appetite. Step 4 is infrastructure, setting up those legal templates and compliance logging. And finally, Step 5, go to market, actually pitching your packages to AI labs, universities, and research institutions. Now, while landing a direct deal with a massive AI lab sounds amazing, there is a surprising strategic alternative you should know about, and that's collective licensing. By partnering with consortiums and aggregators to pool archives together, publishers can actually negotiate from a position of massive combined strength. It completely streamlines the process and seriously minimizes your risk. We've traced quite a path today, from the printing press all the way to modern LLMs. The amazing thing is, the rights and tools to manage all of this are already there. They're rooted in centuries of copyright law, just waiting to be applied today. I want to leave you with one final provocative thought. As AI continues to consume the world's information, are you going to be a passive supplier or a strategic data partner? Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this empowers you to look at your archives in a whole new light.